Hey guys, it's Lisa. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to take this piece that's been in my store for a long time, and I'm going to add some character to it to make it sell. I love the inside color because it's close to the agave in the chalk paint that I really like. But this piece has got some little raised pieces on the side, and it looks almost like a veneer. So there's one here on top and then one on each side, and I wish I had zoomed that in, but I didn't. I'm just going to sand those down. There's really not much to them, so they seem to be sanding really well. So I just sand those down smooth with the rest of the piece. And then I take my sander and just go lightly over the entire piece, because I'm not real sure what kind of paint is on this. I'm sure my chalk paint will stick, but when it's easy, I just like to go over it a little bit all over and give it a good sanding. So once I get this sanded and wiped down, then it'll be ready for my appliques. And in this case, I'm going to add some clay molds over the top of these areas, because although I got them sanded pretty smooth, it isn't at all perfect. So I want to put the molds over it to hide some of that. Besides, I had planned on doing this anyway to add some character. Now at this point you could use the little wooden appliques, but I find them a little pricey, and I have these molds, so this is usually my go-to. These molds that I have here in the lighter color, I'm not going to mention what brand they are because I really do like them. I use them a lot, but IOD, or Iron Orchids Designs, and I'm not sponsored by them, they added little ridges around the outside of the design so that when you press those into the molds, you'll cut that edge off really neatly, and so it just has a lot better look. And when I make these other molds, I have to clean up the edges, and I don't have to do this with this darker one here. So I know I want this keyhole, because there is a keyhole, but it doesn't have any character to it. I know I want that, but these other molds, I'm just going to make several and see which ones I like, and then I'll use the others on another project. Obviously it'll have to be a flat surface, but I'll use them. Now you just work this clay in your hands until it's good and pliable, and then you're just going to press it into these molds and then kind of pinch that edge off. Like I said, with the darker one here, it's a lot easier, but I'm making this look a little harder than it is. Because of the weather, I'm having a little bit of joint problems, and this is taking me a little bit longer, but it generally is an easy process. So this is the IOD clay, also the IOD air dry clay, and I really like it. I bought another brand, and it's air dry clay also, but I wasn't real happy with it because it's harder to get out of the molds. Now here with my molds, I put a little bit of cornstarch. I think I forgot to mention that in them, and that clay just releases really well. I have even seen people use these without the cornstarch, but with this other clay that I had or have, I had a hard time getting them to release, and so I tried and I just gave up on it. But because I was able to buy it at a good price, I bought a box of it, and now I'm stuck with it, and I don't want to waste it. So if any of you guys have any ideas on what I could make with that clay without having to use molds, because like I said, I don't want to deal with the molds, in using that clay. So if you have any ideas, please leave it in the comments. I would really appreciate it. The great thing about these molds is you can glue these on while they're wet. Obviously, you have to let it dry overnight before you'll be able to take the piece. But the good thing with that is that it will mold to whatever piece you put it on. In this case, I'm putting it on a flat surface, but you can use these on jars and pitchers, or I think you could even put them on baskets. I mean, it's just, they will stick to any surface. If you use, what I use with mine is the Gorilla Glue. I tried to take one off that cracked the other day off of a little pitcher, and I still haven't. I've soaked it for 2 days, and still can't get that glue off. So it's really good glue, and I use the Gorilla Glue Clear. That's an all-purpose, and not sponsored by them either here. But when you find a product you use that works well, then you just kind of stick with it, and that's been a really good product for me. So when you get the right kind of clay, these molds will release really well. You can almost rely on gravity, but sometimes you have to kind of start them. So I'm not showing all of these that I made, but I'm just kind of showing you the technique more than anything in case you're not familiar with these molds. And I usually order my products through Etsy. There's a lot of people that deal in these IOD molds. This mold here is probably one of my favorites with the keyholes and keys. I've got some birds ordered right now that I'm excited about coming, but they informed me they were on back order. So here's that mold, and then I put this Gorilla Glue on it, and I smooth it out to the edges. And after I put this on, I realized there's a little more to clean up on this mold. But so I just smooth it out and make sure that you get that glue all the way to the edge, so that it doesn't pull up from the sides, because that's not a pretty look. And this is going to slide here because I made sure to put a lot of glue on it, and so I decided to lay this piece down on its back before I do the other pieces. And I don't do those on camera here, but it's the same process for the other ones. Then I let this dry overnight, and then it'll be ready for a good coat of paint. So I'm using a small brush here and putting on some chalk paint. And I'm using the chiffon cream here because it looks like that's what's on it. And after I put it on there, it was a perfect match. But I'm using this small little artist brush to get in all those little details good. And these little areas are going to take a couple of coats because of the dark that I had to sand down to. But the rest of the piece, I'm just going to put one good coat on it to freshen up the color and to make sure if there's any difference in color that I've evened that out. I love using chalk paint, and I use it a lot, but the thing about chalk paint is it absolutely has to be sealed. So you either have to use a clear wax on it, or a polyurethane coat or something, because it will have that dry finish and every little bit of dirt will just settle on it. So after I get this covered really good with the chalk paint and let that dry well, I go over it with the clear coat. And I wouldn't wait on this clear coat until after I get these appliques done. But I did it first on purpose here because when I put this wax on, I'm just going to put it on these appliques so that the color will settle down into the design, and I don't want it all over the piece. And this way, what little bit I get on the flat part of the furniture piece, it'll just wipe right off. And what doesn't come right off, you can just kind of go over it with a white wax or even a clear wax, and it'll wipe off. I thought about going over the whole piece with the colored wax, but I didn't feel like it would make enough difference, and so I just decided to just work on these little designs. And I do go back and put some on the little trim piece at the bottom, just above the legs. I feel like this piece has a real cottage core feel. I don't know if you guys have heard, but that style of decorating is really coming back for a lot of people. So this could be used in a cottage, or if you just changed your style of decorating over to the cottage core. Now, if this piece doesn't sell after I've done this, then I'll maybe paint the whole thing solid on the outside. I didn't want to put color on the outside since it was on the inside already, but we'll see how this goes. I may have to paint the entire piece, but we'll see if it sells. If you have a booth or a store, some pieces that you think will really be popular maybe won't sell at all, and then some pieces that you're not the happiest with have been the most popular pieces. But generally, if we do what we like, someone else will like it also. I think this piece would work well in a bathroom. You could use it to store your towels and washcloths, and maybe put you a basket of soaps in it. So now I do this same little process of putting this wax into the creases of all of these appliques and wiping it off. And then that's really all that I do to this piece. And I think it changes it a lot. I think it improved the looks a lot. But what do I know? I thought the piece would sell to begin with. Now also go back and add some of the wax to that little trim piece at the bottom of the cabinet just before the legs. And then I add some in the creases of the turned legs. And that's just enough to kind of bring those colors all together. I wish a lot of people understood how therapeutic that creating things can be. Even if you're not artistic or not crafty, just finding a way to create something, whether you're growing something or building something, it is, for me, has been really therapeutic. Don't forget to watch for another thrift flip on Thursday. So again, I'll be doing thrift flips on Thursday and furniture flips on Friday. And then hopefully I'll be able to post in between, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm constantly creating things all day at work, so when I can get a chance to film it, I'll just do that. And the filming doesn't necessarily take the longest, it's more the editing, but I'll get those at least 2 a week out, but hopefully more than that. I hope I've inspired you guys to do a furniture piece. A lot of people are intimidated by these, but if you mess up, then you can always paint over it, and you may just love what you do. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you who are subscribing and commenting and sharing. All that is helping my channel grow. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.